Hey, welcome back everybody. Thanks for stopping by and checking out another video. I wanted to just go over a couple of quick things that have to do with saving seeds to give you kind of a basic idea on the best way to store your seeds. So, questions come up where how long seeds are good for. And like after you have bought seeds, and you have some left over, are they good next year? Can you still plant them again? What about 2 years from now? What about 3 years from now? What about 5 years from now? 10, how long can you save seeds? So, a couple things that will affect this. First and foremost is the quality of the seeds. You want to make sure that you're buying seeds from a reputable dealer that has seeds that have good germination rates to begin with. Sometimes you can get some really cheap seeds, but the quality of the seeds themselves may not be so great. And it might be worth paying an extra 50 cents or an extra dollar per packet of seeds to save yourself some frustration later, both for how many plants you get the first year that you plant them, or if you're saving them for future use for, you get a packet of 25, say, tomato seeds. Most small-time gardeners, I shouldn't say small-time, but most gardeners with smaller gardens might not plant 25 tomato plants. Maybe you're only going to plant 5 or 10. And can you save those seeds until next year? Are they still going to be good? So if you're buying a high-quality seed to begin with, that's going to give you a better chance of the seeds lasting longer if you're not going to use them all and want to save them for a following season. 2, the way that you store them is probably the most important, even if you're getting a seed of lower quality. And this is going to go for whether you are purchasing seeds and saving them, or if you've already had a garden and you are saving seeds out of your garden. The way that you store those seeds is going to be important. You want them in a cool, dry place. Moisture is going to be the enemy of your seed, because if they're damp when you pack them up and save them, that moisture is going to cause more bacteria to grow in there. Maybe they're going to get moldy, and it's going to kill off, the embryo and stuff that's in the seed that causes it to germinate. So, before you start packing your seeds away, make sure that they are completely dry. If you've taken them out of the garden, you might want to spread them out in a sheet. Again, it depends on what type of seeds that you're saving, because there's, for example, tomato seeds, you have to ferment first before you dry them out and save them. So it's going to depend on what you're saving, but let's use some easier examples like a pepper seed or a bean seed, something like that. You will want to just kind of make sure that they're all dry. Spread them out on a cookie sheet or something like that, or on a paper plate works fine. I've done that with my pepper seeds in the past, or I just put them on a paper plate, bang them out of the pepper, spread them out so they're all kind of away from each other on the plate, let them dry out, and then I package them up. So once you have dry seeds, then the next thing is, where do you put them? Well, you want them in a cool, dry place. You can, during most of the year, I keep mine in an airtight container with a snap-on Tupperware lid. You can store them in mason jars. If you're looking at doing longer-term storage, you can even put them, many varieties you can put in the freezer. Now you're probably thinking, well, freezer, there's going to be some moisture in there, or the refrigerator, there's going to be some moisture in there. And that's true. But what putting it in a freezer or refrigerator will do is, with many seeds, again, this is a very broad, I have to really clarify that this is a very broad thing of vegetable seeds overall, because this won't work for all types of plants, but there are many seeds, many types of plants that actually benefit from being in a refrigerator or freezer for a little while, because it simulates winter like they would experience if they were out in the wild. And that cold is just like if they were, like if you leave seeds out in the ground, if they fall, and then next year you come out in your garden, you got these random weird plants showing up, like sunflowers or dill or tomatoes even. They've gone through that wintering process. And so then when the temperature warms up, they've had that winterization. There's actually a term for that, but I forget what it's called. Anyway, some can benefit from putting in a freezer or a refrigerator. If you do choose to not store them in their packages and then in mason jars or Tupperware that's airtight and dry, and you put them in the freezer or refrigerator, when you take them out and you're ready to plant them, or you're getting ready for your next season, you will want to let them come up to room temperature for about 12 hours first, and then spread them out again. Make sure they're all dry before you put them in the ground or in pots or however you're planting them. Also, if you freeze them, that's only probably going to work one time. So you're not going to want to like freeze a batch of seeds, pull them out of the freezer, let them dry out and stuff, and then plant some of them and then take the rest and put them back in the freezer. That's probably going to do more harm than good. So if you have some that you have frozen, you're definitely going to want to use those up after you've taken them out the freezer the first time. Don't worry about putting them back in the freezer again. You're going to want to also, just for your own peace of mind and save yourself some frustration later, you're going to want to make sure that your seeds are in order. You can catalog them, label them, make sure that you know where everything is, so that next spring when you're ready to start planting stuff, you're not going crazy digging through all these different things trying to find what seeds what and where it's at. Just make sure everything's labeled. And what we normally do is we put these in these containers in alphabetical order. We divide up our veggies in one container, flowers in another container, herbs in another container, and that way it's really easy for us because they are already in alphabetical order. And then there's like we separate them with little cards that you can just go to, the letter S for squash or the letter B for beans, depends on like how detailed you want to get with all that kind of stuff, but it will save you frustration next year. Again, like I said, this is a very broad overview of just general seed saving. Different plants have different germination rates, and each year the germination rates will start to drop, especially after 1 year. By 2 years, 3 years, and so on, they will drop, and you're going to get a smaller percentage of seeds that sprout the following year. Now, there are some things that you can do to maybe enhance that when you are germinating them. I would recommend there is a YouTube channel, the Suburban Homestead. He has a couple of excellent videos on germinating seeds inside and some extra steps he takes to get higher germination rates for things like carrots, and can't remember what other type of plants he did, but I remember specifically his carrot germination video, and I think it's one that would probably work for multiple types of vegetable plants. So check his channel out. He has excellently, he has very well produced videos. There's a lot of great channels out there, but for production, he really takes time to make a very fine video that's like TV show worthy, in my opinion. But he has a ton of knowledge and information, so check out his channel, especially on the germination. So there are, even with seeds that are older, there are some extra steps that you can take and germinate them inside to give them a better chance. A lot of it has to do with also when you're doing the germinating, there's things like temperature and moisture can affect, even when the seeds are older. If you have a prime environment for them to germinate in, a lot of times you'll get a much higher germination rate from saved seeds than you would if you just went out and like stuck them in a raised bed or stuck them directly in the ground in the garden. So if you can maintain some of those things, like there was I forget which university it was, but there was a university that did some tests on onion seeds, which generally will have maybe a lower germination rates than other types of things like peppers or tomatoes. But they found that when they planted onion seeds that were in lower temperatures, they only got about 10% to sprout, where when they put it in higher temperatures and the perfect moisture content, then they had a very high germination rate. So depending on what you want to do with your seeds and how much time and research you want to put into it, you would need to look into each variety and plant that you're putting in and what the best conditions are for germinating that plant after you've saved seeds for a year or longer. But just for general seed saving, just make sure your seeds are dry, and make sure that they are, after they've been dried, that they are in a cool, airtight, dry storage space in a container. And then you will have a lot more success when you are germinating your seeds the following year. I mean, I've had beet seeds that I've planted that were five years old, actually. Now, granted, I only had a few come up out of the batch that I planted, but there are still viable seeds in there. Other seeds, like peas, you can test first. You can put them in some water, like in a jar of water, and the ones that float aren't any good because the embryo in them has died, and so the seed's lighter and it will float to the top. I think lima beans might work the same way. And the ones that sink are the ones that should be viable seeds. So there's other little tests that you can do like that too if you want to, check out those types of things. There's all kinds of experiments you can do. It's all about how much time you really want to put into it. But if you just want to save your seeds and be like, Todd, I don't want to research all this stuff. I don't want to worry about temperature control and moisture control and floating seeds in jars and all that kind of junk. Just store them in a cool, dark place, and just be aware that as long as you've got good quality seeds and you store them in a cool, dried, preferably dark place over the winter, that you should have good success with them sprouting a year or two longer at the very least, and some will sprout even many years to come after that. So little tidbits of information for you there. If you have any comments that you want to put below, please do. I like reading the comments, and any questions you can put down there or put it on our Facebook page. Or if you have some other ways that you've saved seeds that have been successful for you, or things that have failed for you, feel free to share that as well. I'm always trying to gather more information, and I like doing all these different kinds of experiments and trying different things with different plants. So I'm always looking for more stuff to try, which drives my wife crazy. So anyway, thanks for stopping by and checking out the video. Please subscribe to our channel. I'm chasing off gnats or mosquitoes or something out here. And I hope whatever you're doing in your neck of the woods and at your homesteads and your gardens, that you are having great success. And I wish you great success with saving your seeds this year and a high germination rate next spring. Hope to see you again soon. Namaste. Oh, have a great day.